Welcome to Dinner with Nanny, Bubby. Oh my gosh, such a day. Had my apron washed and cleaned today, so that's amazing, right? I love it. It's nice and black. There's no flour all over it. There's no grease on it. It's nice and clean and ironed, and it's so great. So thank you for joining me today. I am going to talk to you about, hey Roseanne, so happy to see you, and Lucy and Slaka. Oh my gosh, Lucy used to be my camera woman, or my cameraman woman, because she was one of the very first women cameramen in Las Vegas, and she was the most fun to work with. I would love to have her. If I was getting a robocall, I could tell by the area code. Anyway, Lucy, I'd love to have you still be my camera person. It would be so fun if you still lived here. She was the best of the best of the best, and so fun and so gracious to work with. She was so good with the talent. She was amazing. So we've got some great pictures of us back in the day, right? Lucy, give me a thumbs up. You already did. Give me a thumbs up on that. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is my Desert Bloom organic farm has delivered to me in the last week these amazing, that is a yellow squash. And what you really realize about this is that when they come right off a farm, they're not homogeneous, right? They're not the same shape all the time. They're not the same width, and they all grow very, very differently. So there's that. This is a zucchini, and you can see how imperfect that zucchini is. This zucchini probably started growing in the heat, because whether you're growing tomatoes or whether you're growing any kind of tomato or zucchini, the heat will start to crack it in places like this. So I can promise you that this zucchini probably started growing in the heat of summer, like in August, where it was really hot. And then this right here is actually an indentation. It probably got dropped. When we open it up, we'll see if it's bruised right there, or if it just is the way that it started growing. Sometimes if it grows next to another zucchini, that indents it right there, but we'll see once we cut into it. And then there's these, which I think are so interesting. These are like little round zucchinis. Look at that, aren't they amazing? They look like little green pumpkins, but they're not. They're round zucchinis. Oh, my sister is watching, which is really great because I'm using my sister's pan. My dog is barking at me. He wants to be fed. And I'm using my sister's pot that she gave me. It's the biggest pot. It's one of my most favorite pots ever. And she also lets me use her burner, which she let me borrow once, and I haven't returned it yet. So there's that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make, and my mom is watching, so I've got a mom, one sister, the whole thing going on. It's a family affair, and I'm so happy that the rest of all of you are joining me. And I wanted to remind you that I was challenged by a dear friend of mine who said that she wanted me to go live every day at 3 o'clock, and she challenged me to do it. I have to silence my phone, which is something I forgot to do. Also, I need to put my headsets on, which I also forgot. So give me a minute. Be right back. Where are the headsets? Okay. So the headsets have a microphone in them. That way you'll be able to hear me better. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Julie Lippett Shapiro, I'm so happy you're joining me. That is so great. We've got 13 people on the air with us. So amazing. Thank you so much. And Sylvia Beller, how are you? Oh my gosh, so many are here today. Okay, so I've got my microphone on, I've silenced the phone, and now we can have dinner with Nanny Bubby. So for those of you who just joined us, I'm talking about these really different organic zucchinis. These are green round zucchinis, which I'm going to cut into in a minute. This is a yellow squash, and I love it because these come right off the farm. So they're different shapes, different sizes. They've got different impurities in them. I love that. And then this is a zucchini that is really, you know, you might not buy that off your grocery shelf, but when it comes off the organic farm, you know that it looks like this because it's natural and has everything to do with nature. Okay, so what I'm going to make is a zucchini fry, and I use this really large pot so that all of the zucchini doesn't just steam, but it browns. So I'm going to start by heating some olive oil. Here we go, just maybe a tablespoon and a half or so. Let's see, how do I turn this on? There we go. About level 2 there. And we're going to saute the zucchini with fresh rosemary. So this fresh rosemary came right out of my garden. Oh my gosh. It smells so good. Do you want fresh rosemary, Biggie? I don't know. Dog's barking for rosemary there. So we're going to start by heating this up, and then we're going to go ahead and start slicing into this. So I am dying to look at the zucchini. Let's see if I can turn that. Can you see it? Okay. Let's start with the zucchini. So I'm going to saute this in olive oil. I'm going to saute the zucchini, the round zucchinis, and the yellow squash all at the same time. And then I'm going to put in the rosemary afterwards. So now that you can see the cutting board, let me first cut into it here. That looks pretty good on that end, right? Looks pretty good there. And then I'm going to slice right through the middle of what appears to be a big bruise. And let's see if that's just the way it grew or if that is kind of rotten there. And it's not. It's not rotten at all. So it's perfect. It looks like when it started growing that maybe it was growing next to something that just did not allow this side of it to grow. Like maybe it was against a branch or something like that. So these are good to go. Now I'm dying to cut into these round zucchinis, and let's see how these look. Beautiful. Beautiful. Can you see that? Okay, so let's start. Let's just take some slices. I'm going to saute this with garlic and rosemary, but I'm going to put the rosemary in last. And I want to say, and you guys can all help me with this, can you see me cutting it okay? Send me some thumbs up if you can see me cutting this. Thumbs up. Can you all see it? There we go. Okay. Just small pieces, large but small, right? Because the zucchini itself is very large, but I want to slice them in half. Okay, so I was having an argument with myself today, and this is what I couldn't decide. I couldn't decide if I wanted to clean out my refrigerator for all of you and show you how I clean out a refrigerator, or if I wanted to start making this zucchini that we're going to be having for dinner. So what do you guys think? What would you have enjoyed? Would you have liked to see how I clean out a refrigerator? Or would you rather see how I'm making this zucchini and rosemary? The rosemary is just so lovely this time of year. And because my rosemary was just planted, thumbs up on the refrigerator. Okay, Sylvia, I like that. Because my rosemary was just planted early in the spring, it's still really tender and really light and really beautiful. So it's not too tough, it's not too hard. The wood stems are not too bad. Oh, let's see. Tom Letitia, zucchini. Okay, no one wants to see how to clean out a refrigerator. I'll do it next time, some other time. So, okay, here we go with the zucchini. Who else? Let's see. Rosemary, zucchini. Okay, there we go. All right. So I made the right choice. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so into the pot. Let me just turn this a little bit. See, Lucy, I could really use you right now because I'm being my own cameraman and my own talent and my own lighting person. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I am going to do this round zucchini. This looks amazing. And let's see. Yep, smells like a zucchini. There we go. Okay. So I'm slicing these in little thin slices. And they are, you know, they're not little per se because they're big, but compared to the size of the zucchini itself, they're smaller. So we're going to put them in here. I'm turning the heat up really high to the highest level because I want it to brown. And that's the key to this, is you want really sort of charred and caramelized zucchini. And then you're going to mix it with some garlic and with some rosemary. So I'll tell you another key. Sometimes if I don't have garlic and I need garlic and when I'm making, I will use this roasted garlic, there we go, roasted garlic olive oil. Oh my gosh, you should smell this. You can see that it's starting to brown. The aroma is just so amazing. And I pour a little bit of the roasted garlic olive oil into it to add the flavor. Sometimes hammering away at garlic and getting the skin off and everything else, it's a lot to deal with at 3 or 4 in the afternoon if you've had a long day. And my garlic is not as fresh as I would like it to be. So, okay, let me turn this up. All right, now let's go for the yellow zucchini. We're gonna really mix this up and see how it looks. Add all kinds of different things into it. I'm gonna put on a little bit of salt as it starts to brown and saute. There we go. A bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper. There we go. Okay. Gotta get a spoon, hold on. Okay. See, if I had a camera person here, if Lucy were here, the camera would have followed me to get a spoon, but I can't do 2 things at once. Can you tell, Lucy, I'm missing you? Missing your talent for sure. Okay, so we're gonna try not to move this too much because we really want it to brown. We put enough in this, and if I'm gonna make 2 batches of it, I'm gonna go ahead and let this brown really, really good, throw in the rosemary, and then put it into the serving dish and make another batch so that there's enough for dinner. My men over here eat tons. 1 man in this household eats enough for 3, so I always make a lot, and besides, a lot of vegetables couldn't be bad for anybody. So look at this yellow zucchini. Look how beautiful that is. Can you see? So nice. I just want it, it's bright yellow, white on the inside. It looks really, really good. Again, this came right off the farm at Desert Bloom Farms. One day I'm going to invite the owner of Desert Bloom Farm to come in, and we'll do an interview with them in the Gather with Nanny Bubby, oh, I can never say that right, Gather with Nanny Bubby Facebook group. And she can talk to us about her organic farming and, you know, the differences in foods and what things look like and what to look for when you're buying vegetables and fruits in your favorite market, and the benefits of organic as opposed to non-organic. So she's going to make a really good interview in the future. I have to reach out to her, and I will, to ask her if she'd be kind enough to Zoom in with me, and then we can do an interview with her. Don't you love Zoom? Should we all have bought stock in Zoom? I'll tell you, even though it was out there and available, nobody was using it to the capacity that we are now using it. So it has just been a real blessing. So chopping up yellow squash, okay. Now I just want to look at this. This looks like it was like one of the first of the season zucchinis that came. And I really do think that this was in my refrigerator for several days. And so it's not looking so good. And I think I waited way too long to cook it, cut it, and eat it. But I want to just kind of cut into it just to see what it might look like. So it has started to get kind of yellow. I don't know, you know, the lighting in these iPhones sometimes is not so great, but if you can see, it's starting to yellow up there, and it really does. The skin is very, very loose. It just kind of looks rotten, so I think I'm going to set this aside and not use it. Okay, so we're going to use a little bit of this garlic, even though I brought out the roasted garlic Temecula olive oil. I did. But I think I'm going to chop up 1 clove of this garlic, because we have the time while this is browning. Let me give it a quick stir. So, you know, they sell all kinds of things to help you get the skin off of garlic. But I'll tell you, the old-fashioned Italian way works best for me. So you're going to take it, see if you can see this. Let me tilt this camera. Okay, there we go. Hey, Karen Thatcher. Nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we're going to turn the blade away from us. We're going to take our hand and just pound down on the base of that knife. This is one of those great global vegetable knives. And as you can see, the skin just comes right off of this. Very, very easily once you pound it. So there you go. And then what we're going to do is sometimes, rather than chopping it, you want to just smash it and put it into things like into tomato sauce or a pomodoro sauce. I just smash my garlic really, really good and throw it in. And then at the end of cooking it, I take out the Parmesan rind and the basil limbs and everything else. And that way, nobody gets a big bite of garlic. But in this case, we're going to be sauteing. Oh, you should smell that garlic. Oh, it smells so good. Karen Bashor, if you heard me say your name, send me a thumbs up. It's so good to have you joining us live. We're making dinner. Hi there, you did send me something. We're making dinner with Nanny Bubby every day at 3 o'clock. I was challenged to go live every day at 3 o'clock, and so that's what I'm doing. My son-in-law asked me how long that was supposed to go on, and I said, I don't have any idea. I'm going to have to ask the person that challenged me. But, you know, Karen, you're a working mom, and I know it's difficult to every day come home and have to make dinner. Or if it's your husband's responsibility, it's hard for him. And so Dinner with Nanny Bubby at 3 p.m. every day is meant to help give you ideas and maybe to have you cook along with me so that it makes it easy. Because sometimes when you're the only one in the kitchen, it gets kind of lonely, and I don't like that. I really like to cook with others. It makes it so fun. Everybody gives ideas. Like, tell me some ideas that you might have right now for cooking this zucchini. Keep it brown. You should see how nice and brown this one piece got. Can you see? Oh. Can you see that? The brown beautifully. My hand's in the way because it's hot. Can you see it? Oh, there you go. See that? There you go. Okay. So we're just going to let this sit. So zucchini has a lot of water in it. And so what I have found, which I wanted to do today, but it was one of those days because everybody has one of those days, is I frequently, because zucchini has a lot of water, yellow squash has a lot of water, I will slice them in like dollar-sized slices. I will lay them out on cookie sheets. I will put a piece of parchment paper over the top and 2 spoons to hold it down, and then I will take it outside and lay those cookie sheets directly in the sun. And what I put paper towels underneath it, underneath the zucchini, so that the zucchini loses its water into the paper towels. And then when you bring them in, there's so much less water in the zucchini, and so they brown so much easier. That was a little trick a friend of mine who comes right from Italy says that her family and her always do. But this zucchini and this summer squash, yellow squash, has started to lose its water. And so if I just leave it alone, it will start to brown. So Sylvia says, thinly sliced with shallots, red pepper flakes, and garlic. Okay, guess what, Sylvia? I was going to put shallots in this recipe today, and I didn't. So I'm going to turn around right now, and I'm going to grab a shallot. I thought that sounded amazing. And I don't have red pepper, but I have green peppers out from my garden, which is right over here. So I think I'm going to do exactly what Sylvia suggested. Here comes the shallot. So it's probably a little late to put the shallots in, but this is going to be cooking quite a while. So let's see. Got to get the skin off that. Anybody else have a great suggestion of how you... Oh, I'll put the red pepper flakes in too, believe me. But what I do have instead, Sylvia, that I want to show you, I'm going to finish this with fresh jalapeno. Can you see that? Fresh jalapeno, olive oil, and I mix that with hatch chili balsamic vinegar. And you think it's going to be too spicy, but it's really not. It's amazing. So I won't put too much red pepper in it. Let's see, who's saying hi? Siki. Siki's saying hi, and she's watching, and she said hi. Okay, let me skin these shallots. I'm not doing such a good job. These are a peel. They don't peel off as easily as you do with garlic, so I gotta peel off the skin. Who's got an easy way to peel a shallot? It's probably just like an onion. You just have to go for it with your thumbs, right? Here we go, peeling the shallot. And I'll finish it with the red pepper flakes. You don't want to put it in too soon, but you don't want to put it in too late either, because you really want it to season and get that heat right into the dish. Let's try this just a little bit more. Okay, all right. So here comes the shallot, and there's one more. You know, I was actually saying to myself, should I put shallots into this? It sounded good to me, and then Sylvia says, how about shallots? So hey, I'm up for it. And it goes to show you that when you use different things, you can combine different flavors. And I always say, right, can't go wrong, I always say, yum, Julie said, thank you so much, that cooking is intuitive and instinctual. So don't be afraid to reach out and do something that feels good to you, but just because you've never seen it in a recipe, maybe you're smarter than the person that writes the recipes. You never know. And you might make a big mistake, but sometimes in your big mistakes, you create a whole new recipe because surprisingly, it works out. But you got to remember to write it down, because if you don't write it down, you'll forget. And then the next time you think, what did I do? What did I do? It was so great. Okay, I have to wash my hands. 1 minute. Okay. All right. So, let's slice up this shallot. Oh, I can smell this. It's going amazing. Okay, I'm going to put these shallots into the second batch when I get it ready. Julie, you should tell your mom to watch. Wouldn't that be so fun? If your mom ever popped on, I would love to see her do that. I would love that. Okay. There we go. I can smell the caramelizing. Just smell it so good. I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil. Okay, so this is going to take a little while. How about if we ask questions? Ask me some questions, and then I'll ask you questions. I already have been asking questions. Tell me what you think. Tell me some questions. Have any? I'm going to cut the, okay, yeah, I know, tell her. Tell Lindy too. Okay. So here's the rosemary, and we know that the way that we get rosemary leaves off a stem is go backwards. Whoop. The tip always comes off when you start up as high as I did, but you just want to go opposite the way the leaves are growing, and just, there you go. Just kind of, you can see that, and just take them right down the stem. There you go. See that? Chop these up. Have a lot of stems. You should smell this. It's so delicious. So, you know, if you get just one thing out of this, if you just get one piece of information that makes your dinner easier, and you think that there's someone else that it would help if they joined us every day at 3 o'clock, then just share this video once I post it on Facebook and then on the Nanny Bubby page that you're on, and invite them to join us. And you too, tell them you'll meet them here. And we can all cook together. And as I get more and more organized, I will work to get the recipes that I'm going to be doing every week up online so everybody can purchase what they need so we can all cook together. I also want to remind you that starting on November 10th, every Tuesday and Thursday, I won't be here on the Nanny Bubby page. Hey Sue Plattner, good to see you. I won't be here on the Nanny Bubby Facebook page, but I'm going to be in the Gather with Nanny Bubby Facebook group, and we're going to be doing interviews with amazing people. First interview is with Colette Brown, who's going to talk to us about masking and how to eat so that your face does not break out. That would be great. Okay, I can get my face, there we go, kind of, my Facebook does something weird. So, okay, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to lay it out onto this huge platter, which is bigger than I am, right? And then right before my family comes home, I am going to throw it back in the pot to heat it. But let me show you how brown caramelized that is. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of the rosemary into it. Let's see if you can see that. Can you see that? See how nice and, oh my gosh, and you can smell how the rosemary is just sweating along with the shallots. Great idea, Sylvia Beller. Love that. Sylvia once came to my house for a little group meeting, and I served blackberry basil jam to her, and she fell in love with it. And she was the first person, Sylvia, you probably don't even realize this, but you were the very first person who ever asked me for a recipe. And I sent her home with a couple containers of blackberry basil jam, as I remember it. Okay, let me set this down. Just pour this out. I hope that's stable. Not too hot. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, starting all over again. I'm going to make 2 big batches of this. Okay, I'm going to put in the shallot first. So here goes the olive oil. And I'm going to throw in the shallot. And as that shallot sweats, that we don't want it to really brown, we want it to sweat. We're actually going to sweat some of the rosemary along with it. I think that's a really good idea. So sweating really means that it heats up, and the flavors, you can smell the flavors getting a little bit into the pan, and they don't necessarily brown, but you can just see that they're becoming translucent and just kind of sweating out those flavors into the pan. And the really great thing about shallots is that they cook so much faster than onions, so they're much easier to sweat. There we go. All right. You should smell that. It's just amazing. Okay. Oh yeah, have you seen, Karen, my jam recipe for Thanksgiving? And you know what? Please join us. We have a class we're offering. You'll start seeing it online. We're going to make Grand Marnier, my favorite kitchen partner, Tanya Murray, is going to be assisting me in the kitchen again, because we do these courses and we have so much fun together. She has what she says an award-winning Grand Marnier Cranberry Relish, which I think sounds delightful. And I'm going to teach all of you, because I've been promoting that you buy your tiger pumpkins before October 31st, so I hope you did, because I don't know if we can get them anymore. Most stores have gotten rid of them. But we are going to turn these into either soup bowls, any kind of bowl. It can hold risotto, it can hold creme brulee for dessert, which will be amazing. If you can imagine serving creme brulee in these little pumpkin bowls, but you've got to get them cooked correctly. Okay, so the shallots are losing their pink, which means that they've gotten very translucent. So into the pot with the zucchini. Go. I love Thanksgiving. It is my favorite holiday. I think I like it so much because there's just absolutely no expectation. Sorry about the hand there. There's no expectation. I'm not expecting you to come with a present. You're not expecting me to have a present. You're just coming to have good food and great drinks, whatever that may be for your family. It's just the best time. And what I love more than anything, and my favorite memory from when I was a child, is my Uncle Sammy used to come to town, and everybody used to make food together. Everybody was in the kitchen, and everybody was making their most favorite dishes. And I love that feeling. So every Thanksgiving, I always want people to come over and cook and be together and make fabulous things and make a wonderful memory. Last Thanksgiving, my sister's ex-husband, who we still call Uncle Russell, He came with his entire family. I think he's got 6 kids now. It's a good thing she's not still with him. She was good at 2. If she knew that he wanted more, no wonder she got rid of him. I'm just joking. Not really. Kind of a funny thing. Anyway, bottom line is that he came with his 6 kids, and everybody stayed. They had butternut squash soup. In the soup bowls, we had fabulous appetizers. Everybody had such a good time. And that was just during the appetizers, and then they left right before we served dinner, and everybody had dinner together, and it was just fun. It was just fun. This year, I'm hoping that my outdoor kitchen is done by Thanksgiving. It's my goal. I've only been at this for 7 months with that backyard. We started May 4th, so is that 7 months, 6 months? Yeah, May to November is 6 months, I know that. And I think I'm growing. I've never done this. Somebody tell me if you have. Okay, Siki, bye-bye. Going back to work. Thank you for joining in. I love that. Join us again tomorrow at 3 p.m. I think I'm going to rotisserie a turkey in my new barbecue, and I really don't even know how to do that, but I guess I'm going to have to read about it and look it up and ask for advice from somebody who might have done it. So adding a little bit of salt and pepper to this. There we go. Okay, so we're going to let that sit in there. We'll toss the seasoning around. You'll excuse me while I go grab the red pepper per Sylvia Beller. Right? Sounds like a great idea. Even though I'm finishing this with jalapeno oil and hot chili balsamic. So I alphabetize my spice cabinet. And I do that so that if I go really quickly like I just did to grab the red chili pepper, I know where to grab. I don't go looking through 10 or 20 or 15 different bottles to find what I need. It's right in the R's. So I highly suggest that you do that. So here's a question. How many of you alphabetize your spice cabinet? Can you answer that for me? Oh, this is browning so nicely. And the reason it's browning is that the top is really hot. And the oil, this is just lovely. Oh, you should smell it. It's just amazing. Okay, let's get some rosemary cut up. So let's say, oh, Roseanne does too. I love that. She also, come to find out, changes her closet every fall and spring. I do too. Love that. Who else? Anybody else alphabetize your spice cabinet? Maybe I should have asked. Who doesn't? Hi, Tara Hershu. How are you? Julie Lippett does it. I love that, Julie. I love that that's what you do. Again, just doing that, no matter how crowded your spice cabinet is, when you're in a hurry with a recipe and you need to find a certain spice, you'll know where to look, and then something doesn't burn, and it's just the best way to go. Here's the other thing. How many of you throw out your spices once a year? Lucy says she's going to do it now. Makes it so much easier, Lucy. And so how many of you actually throw out your spices at the end of the year? So because the holidays always entail so much cooking, spices really don't last more than a year. Oh, Tara does. Is it Tara or Tara? But regardless, she also alphabetizes. That's good to know. Spices don't last forever, and they lose their potency. So I'm bad at that one. Yeah, I'm bad at that one too. And it's because you buy a big bottle like this for a spice and then use it once or twice in a year, and you say to yourself, am I really going to throw that away? So I would say, even though the recommendation is once a year, I feel like the recommendation is try to. Sylvia, tell us why you're saying try to dump your spices every year. Or are you saying you try to do it? Because the potency is gone. And if you're going to cook, you want everything to be as, flavorful as possible. So, you know, it just depends how much of it I've used. You know, I never used to use cumin, and now I use it all the time. So I used to throw away bottles of cumin, but it's really important that we really don't let them go longer than 2 years. And honestly, when I first started throwing away my old spices, what I found is that some of those spices had been in my cabinet since I was in college. Oh, no kidding. Or I once found a Mrs. Butterworth syrup in my refrigerator that was dated to throw away in 2003, and it was 2011. So, listen, that's why I always clean out my refrigerator now. And I dump my spices. Okay, putting that in. Okay. I'm going to put in just a little bit of the red pepper, a pinch, still a lot, and we're going to throw these around. So let me show you how, oh my God, these are so brown and beautiful. So the less you turn them, the better, right? That way they don't get soggy, they just brown. Just want to show you this. Look at that. Can you see how beautiful and brown that is? So let me tell you what I'm going to serve this with tonight. I do a chicken called Moroccan Chicken. Let me show you the spice that I use. And you can always find them online. There's the Moroccan spice that I always use, called a Moroccan spice rub. So what I do is I'm going to take my chicken breasts and I'm going to pound them to make them as thin as possible. Thank you, Julie. It is beautiful. It smells so good. This is the only problem with Facebook Live, is that you also need to be able to smell. You have to invent smell through the phone. And touch, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to put this Temecula Moroccan rub onto the chicken, and I'm going to saute the chicken in olive oil in a really hot pan until they brown on 2 sides. And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them in the oven and finish them off at about 375 for about 20 minutes. And that is what I'm going to serve this with. So, that's it. That's today's dinner with Nanny Bubby. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So that this doesn't overcook, I'm going to take this and put it into the platter, cover it, and let it rest. Oh, yeah, you like your regular shapes. I know, some of them I cut in long stems, half, round. Yeah, it makes it really nice. Okay, into this big oversized platter we go. Sorry, I'm over here. Turn this off, and I'm going to let that cool a minute. I'm going to cover it, and then when Tom comes home tonight, I'm going to throw it back in the pan, and I'm going to reheat it. Maybe it'll get a little brown again if I make that pot really nice and hot. Throw them back in, and I'm going to now make my Moroccan chicken, and I thank you all so much for joining us. Remember, November 10th, in the Gather with Nanny Bubby Facebook group, we're going to be doing interviews on starting November 10th, every Tuesday and Thursday inside the Facebook group, Gather with Nanny Bubby. And then Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're going to be cooking. If I did anything that helped you feel more in control of your meal planning and your dinner, if you got anything at all out of this and you think that there's somebody in your life that would benefit from this, then please share the video of this with them, and tag me so that I know that you've done that, so I can tag you back and thank you, and invite them personally into our 3 p.m. It's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby, and I'm happy to do that. So share and tag me so I know you shared, and then I'll go invite that person to join us, right? Okay, I love you guys too. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. when it's dinner with Nanny Bubby. Bye.